We're in the middle of it. We'll find out. And if that's an anomaly, sheesh, just add it to the list. Question? Yes, sir?
Can't hear.
Can't hear.
Can't hear.
Here, we got a mic too.
I'll speak louder. I can do that. So I'm going to ask you two questions here.
Go.
They're related. One is, what is your best hope that comes out of this presentation? And what is your worst fear in your case?
Great question. That's the question of why did we do this? Because this town has been torn apart. I've already had a guy yell back here, get out of Canadian.
Nope.
I see it, I hear your pain, I hear your anger. I'm sorry I have to show you corruption in your city. I'm sorry, but I got a dead kid. And it's my job to figure out how that kid died. I'm sorry. If you're angry with me, if you're angry with my crew, I'm sorry. But we're not here, like I said earlier, to make you feel good. We're here to figure out how an 18-year-old died. And let me tell y'all something. Let me tell you this. I want all of you to think. What if it was your child?
Amen.
Would you want someone like me investigating it? Because I guarantee if we hadn't been involved in this, I believe it because I've heard it from too many townspeople. If we hadn't been involved in this, we would never be here making this presentation.
Amen.
You would know nothing. And all these people that run around think they know something. They don't. We've just told you what we have. We didn't give you theory, folks. We gave you facts and we backed them up. Now, my biggest fear. I'll be honest with you. Today I went out to where Tom Brown's body was found, and I laid across with my team. There were some tears shed. I'm not a wuss, guys. I'm not. I carry a gun for a living. I chase after criminals all over the world. But my biggest fear is that we may never find out what happened to Tom Brown. That's my fear. I don't think that, but that's my fear. I've had it before in other cases, and all of a sudden, boom, one day there it is, and oh, we get it. I don't know. She has an office right next to me, and she walks in and puts her hand on my shoulder and says, "You okay?" "Yeah." "What's wrong?" "I'm nervous." "Why are you nervous?" "I don't know. We can solve this case." And I get it, and what you probably don't know, that's my daughter over there. She looks at me and she says, "Dad, pray, work hard, we'll figure it out." That's my fear. That we may not figure this out. And if we don't figure this out, we're going to have people on Facebook and all over the place talking about stuff that's not true. There's the truth. I get beat up in the press every day. "Oh, it's just a theory. It's not fact." I just laid out the facts. And it's angered some people in this room. And I'm sure it's angered people out there on the satellite tonight. I don't know what to tell you, folks. I don't know you. But you know what? I love you. You've been so good to us. We've taken the opportunity to do our jobs. If it's not good enough, I'm sorry. But we go where the facts take us to go. And we've done that. We've done that. Have we made mistakes? You betcha. I'll raise my hand and say I wasted 6 weeks in North Carolina, and South Carolina, and Los Angeles, California, chasing a, quote, diaper-wearing homosexual. When in turn, he was nothing like that. We had no indication this boy was like that. None, zero, donut hole. That's my fear. My fear is there's been so much injection, or taking a sentence that I say and flipping it to try to make me look bad. Why do you make me look bad? I'm the guy who's trying to find a dead kid. Now my ego gets me going, and I go, I don't know. Why do people do that? And then I get mad. I apologize to this right now in front of all of you. I will apologize to this radio DJ. I apologize, newsman. Told him to sit his ego butt down in the chair. Him and I don't see eye to eye. That's why I won't do his radio show. We don't see eye to eye. But I like him. I think he's a great guy. I think he's a great entrepreneur. And I want him to have the biggest radio station in the state of Texas. I do. I'm being honest. But I want everybody to succeed. But don't use my words, or don't use Skip Hollandsworth words. Don't use words that say, oh, he just talks about theory. I just spent 3 hours talking about facts. Now, did I articulate, to be fair, did I articulate everything we knew? The crushed in skull, blood, all these things, did I articulate that to the public? No. Because it was investigatory. It was investigatory. Question? Nope. Media done? Oh my God. Media's done. That's great. Thank you. All right. Here we go. Public. Got a question. Let's, how do you want to do this? You want to walk around with the mic? Okay. Oh, Charlie's got it. Here comes Charlie. He's going to get you a mic, and then he's going to stand with you, and then we'll go to the next one. Here we go.
Robert Boyd. You say that you come into this trying to find what happened to Tom Brown, but most of this whole 2 hours has been picking apart Nathan Lewis. Are you really trying to figure out what happened to Tom Brown, or are you trying to get Nathan Lewis arrested and trying to say he broke laws when T. Cole, yes, they reprimanded him. They did not find that he made up documents. If they found he made up government documents, if he made up government documents, he would be sitting in jail right now because that's a felony.
Look what Biden got away with.
Hand me this,
So are you worried about Tom Brown, or are you worried about your 2 or 3 agendas that Penny gave you when you were assigned to the case? Get rid of Nathan Lewis. Get rid of Nathan Lewis.
You're a problem. You're giving unfactual information.
No.
I don't know that you sat in on this. I don't know you.
Yes, I did.
Okay. You saw the evidence. Now, Jane's going to read you what T. Cole in the report said. Okay? So I'm sorry. We got it up here. We'll read you what T. Cole said. T. Cole said 2 things. I'll synopsis it, and then they'll read it to you.
Okay.
T. Cole said, number 1, he was putting fake and false documents in training files. That's T. Cole from T. Cole report. Second thing, is that according to Chief Deputy Brent Clapp, who got fired a couple of days afterwards, he was putting in supplemental reports into the Tom Brown case that were not factual, trying to push a narrative. Mr. Boyd, I don't know what to tell you. I'm just telling you what the state of Texas says. For us, that's an anomaly. Do I want Sheriff Nathan Lewis to get fired? No. I liked the guy.
You put on Facebook that we had a corruption problem in this.
You did. With that, you did. If that's not corruption, then I'm the public.
Well, what about the supplement report that Jerry Lynn Ortega put in about 6 months or 3 months after Nathan Lewis supplement report, where she said that she was in the room talking with Penny and Chris, and Tucker had called, and she overheard Tucker say, "I'm not talking to the damn sheriff's office." Is that not fabrication?
I know of the situation. If Jerry Lynn didn't put it in immediately after it happened, that's on Jerry Lynn's butt.
That was after.
But that was after the T. Cole investigation. So you just told us something that we're going to PIR very quickly tomorrow morning. Thank you for that.
You bet.
You bet. If you got any other information, let me know. Here's Jay.
Let me talk about a supplemental report. I do a lot of criminal defense investigations, and a supplemental report with a law enforcement agency is when there's new information to be presented in a report as soon as the information is received. So
Supplemental reports are also broke down from notes as well.
supplemental report. If you have a death investigation, if you have an incident in November of 2016, and then in December of 2017, you put in a supplemental report of events that happened that night. 13 months later, a supplemental report is supposed to be issued at the time it happens, not 13 months later when T-Calls get ready to come and look at your records. So, this is, I know a lot of you think this has been a Nathan Lewis batch session, but in the course and scope of our investigation of trying to determine what happened to Tom Brown, we uncovered so much corruption in this community, and a lot of it started in the sheriff's department. Misinformation campaigns, trying to discredit us, to giving interviews on the sample show of Nathan Lewis telling, here we go. This is a criminal investigation. This was in 2016, in December. This is a criminal investigation, or we wouldn't be involved. We've labeled this as a criminal investigation because we don't want to have any evidence to support the fact that it is. We don't have any evidence to support the fact that it is or is not. But we've been doing a criminal investigation from day one. That is a lie. All these rumors spread to the Canadian Record. Laurie would sit down with Nathan Lewis and have interviews with him, and he would disparage our team. Oh, he's a liar. This was a reporter, not a phone.
So you can confirm to me that within the first 48 hours of the investigation, Penny Meek did not tell Nathan Lewis that she thought her son committed suicide by the choking gang. That is on record, and Skip Hollingsworth had that in his report.
Say it again. He was taken out of context, Penny says she never said it. Here's your answer.
It's recorded.
Good. Let's hear it.
Skip Hollingsworth put it on his podcast. It was in his podcast.
Take it out of context.
It was taken out of context. That's enough. Stop.
And last question, so everybody will have a chance. As you say, an anomaly, Tom liked to have his phone charged at all times.
Right.
So why did his phone die at 12:13?
His phone didn't die at 12:13. His phone was turned off. The AG's kind of quiet. It didn't happen. It was turned off according to the FBI.
So the FBI and Quantico and everybody decided that it was turned off.
It was turned off. It died. The battery died because wherever it was sitting there dying.
So the Attorney General's lying that it
I didn't say that. Don't say that.
the Attorney General
That's unfair.
you never released it.
No, I'm saying we completely disagree with that, and we were told something completely different by the Attorney General. That's what I'm saying. They may be right, but I'm just telling you what they told us. And then, when they knew we knew, they started spitting out this report like they did last night, saying, oh, they don't work with law enforcement, they don't like. I'll tell you what, I can line up 15 Secret Service agents, I can line up 100 U.S. Marshals, I can line up a bunch of FBI agents, some that don't like me, but they'll tell you, yeah, we all work together as a team. Because when the private security board people and the public security board people, law enforcement, do this, cases get solved.
Amen.
I agree, and I hope that we do find out what happened.
Thank you, Mr. Boyd. I appreciate your question.
Thank you, Boyd. Let's go. Next.
Next. There we go.
Next. Here we go.
Cheryl Bushman. Penny, I'm so sorry for what you're going through. I went to high school with her. She's always been an honest lady from day one. My question is this: how can us citizens of Plainfield County and surrounding areas that wants to see this case closed and with answers, how can we help y'all with that?
Man, that is the question of the night, and I appreciate you asking it. Let me tell you, those guys in the Commissioner's Court that appointed Brent Clapp, Make sure you vote them back into office. That's a bunch of honest guys up there that did a great job. You had the sheriff that fired the guy that reported corruption. What? And then the board gets together and says, whoa, he's an honest guy, so they appoint him sheriff. And then he wins sheriff. Nobody runs against him. Support that man. Support his family. I really don't want to get into his family, but his family's going through a little bit of a crisis right now. Spoke to him yesterday, or the day before yesterday. He's a great man. I'm just telling you, support the people that you know that are not corrupt. A lot of people have asked me, because I know where you're going with it, what about the DA? He is the chief law enforcement in your county. Not the sheriff. The DA is. He can prosecute, he can non-prosecute, he can no bill. That's why we put up on the internet, call his office. Let him know what you think. If you really want to see this changed, elect the people that you know are not corrupt. Now, that leads, I know where you want to go with it on the other side. You're shaking your head, you know where I'm going. What about Attorney General Paxton? Folks, I've been in the political business since 1990. I've been in the political business. I deal with a lot of politicians, both corrupt and non-corrupt. I'm a fixer. I fix things for them. Okay? First thing I fix with somebody who's corrupt, I sit them down and say, I'm going to fix this for you. You're going to pay me a lot of money, but I'm going to fix it. Here's how I'm going to fix it. You're going to resign right now. And you're going to admit to what you did. And you're going to let the chips fall where they may. You've never been convicted of anything. You're going to have to pay your time. Oh, I'm not doing that. I'm not. What do you want to do? Well, I see all these people get away with murder. I got a son. Okay. That's them. That's not you. Did Attorney General Paxton write that thing last night? No. A bad PR person did. Bad. They need to go back to school and learn how to spell. And I'm throwing rocks in the room in a glass house because my spelling is kind of bad sometimes. But Paxton, I think he needs a second look. He's allowing that crap to go out under his name. I don't know, man. I'm telling you right now, I don't know. George P. Bush is running. I think there's some people in this room that know I used to work for H.W. Bush as his advance man. I know how the system works in Washington. The answer to your question is, that's a decision for each one of you in your hearts to make here. I don't know what to tell you. But when you get a group of people in a movement, go after the people that are trying to solve the death of a kid, he's just full of bull. Oh, get on the internet and Google him. And sure enough, you'll see a lot of stuff. By the way, the guy that wrote all that stuff on the internet was a pedophile. And someone got him on September 1st and sliced his throat open. He's dead.
I don't know.
The guy that was writing all this stuff about me, he gone. Retzloff.
I didn't publish his stuff,
Good for you. We'll get there. We'll get there. Come on.
You should stop throwing splatter at a board or
Okay.
at a wall, okay?
Okay. We'll get to you.
I interviewed you.
Okay, come on. Let's do it now. Is that okay to answer your question?
I'm gonna finish what I have.
I want you to come up with a mic and say it in front of everybody.
Go, Lori, go.
Come on, Lord. Right here. Hold on. Charlie's got a mic for you right here. Go ahead.
Philip Klein, I interviewed you and your associates probably longer than anybody else I ever talked to in this case. I'm a reporter. Chris Samples is a reporter. We report information. That's what I've done. I haven't accused anybody. I haven't pointed a finger at anybody. I haven't decided what happened. I haven't closed this case. That's why I'm here tonight, reporting this meeting, when I should have my newspaper uploaded by now, and I should be getting some sleep that I really badly need. If I fail to follow up on something, I don't know how that happened. It's been years. I don't know. What's the date on that?
That's what I'm saying. You need to come up here after this is over and look at her phone. She's got
I'm
it.
sorry, sir. I've got to go get a newspaper out.
I'm bringing her to you right
A
now.
lot longer.
Go ahead.
But no, my point is, we collect information, we talk to people, we write about it. Okay? I'm doing my job. I've always done my job. I am not biased. I'm not one-sided. I try to get the job done. And I've spent a lot of time talking to you.
Jane, you want to go ahead and read that?
No,
This is
no,
what's in there. Go ahead.
This was after Tom's body was found, and because you reported that Nathan had reported to you that that object that was found on the road was a recorder and not a phone. So I wrote you on January 18th, 2019, shortly after Tom's body was found. Good morning, Laurie. I wanted to send you a screenshot of a text message we received this morning. I'm sure you will recall after our ground search in October, the fire chief put it out there that Philip was a liar and that TxDOT did not find a phone. They found a recorder. We've said from day one, there's more to this story. It was an obvious campaign to discredit Philip in our investigation. Philip is good at what he does, and he sniffed this one out from day one. There's a reason he has stalkers on the internet that tried to smear his reputation. They don't like what he finds. This ride ain't over. I hope Canadian Texas will be able to heal when all the truth comes out. You wrote, I sent you the screenshot, which says, this is Randy, the TxDOT inspector who contacted you and told you that my tree clearing crew had found a phone. You then met us on Lake Marvin Road, and we attempted to find that phone. Well, I've since moved from the Panhandle back to North Dallas area near Sherman, and I heard the news this week. I was just kind of curious, where on Lake Marvin Road were his remains found? And you wrote back, I know only too well it ain't over. The shitstorm has arrived. I would like to talk to Randy if you would share his contact. I said, this screenshot has his number at the top. Please do. I would be curious as to what he says as well. And you said the screenshot you sent does not show his number. Can you see it on this one? And I blew it up, and I sent you his number.
I talked to Randy.
I never heard back.
I talked to Randy.
Okay. Was there a retraction that this was actually
No.
a
He
phone?
told me he thought his father was confused. He described, no, I believe it. I talked to Randy, I followed up on that. I think I even reported it.
His father was confused, tell me.
It was his father who found whatever the
He
object
was
was.
riding with TxDOT and the
He said his
TxDOT
crew found it.
His crew found it.
His crew did not.
Oh, okay.
let's go.
So over here, who found it?
The contractor that was working for TxDOT found it,
Okay.
and they said it was a recorder, not a phone.
That's not what you
So
said.
the guy who called and met us out on Lake Marvin Road to look for a phone didn't know what his story was?
He said that they found a device, and it was a square little digital recorder. Because that was the day he was stood in the back of the pickup, said that their TxDOT employees found something, they didn't know what they had, they jumped it back off in the weeds. Remember that?
I don't.
Oh, wait, no, wait up. I know what my crew.
There was a news channel, there's a news channel 374 that was there that.
Hold on. Let me finish. We found the man. We interviewed the man. He used the word phone. He used the word phone. Does everybody see what I'm talking about? Do you see when it goes from conjecture to fact? They tell investigators phone. We say, let's get out there. I don't know if you know, Lori. I know she knows. The minute I found out there was a possible phone out there, I was up here within 8 hours. And I was on my hands and knees out there in the grass with Trey and Anita Webb. And we were looking for a phone. He told us it was a phone. And then when the body is found, he said, was the body found near where the phone was? Yes, he did. You can argue all day long. We've got it on
I
recording.
don't have any intention of arguing all day long. I followed up. That's what he told me, okay? I followed up.
and he told you something different than he told me. Again, does everybody see what we're doing here? Does everybody see what's going on? It's misinformation. Maybe he gave her misinformation. Maybe he gave us misinformation. We don't know. We got to take him at his face value. Lori, to your horn, Lori has to take him at face information.
I don't have a lie detector test for the people I interview. I talk to them. I try and report accurately what they know.
Lori, I just gave you a
I talk to
kudo.
you too. No, I don't care. I don't care.
Okay, good.
I don't care.
Next question.
I don't care.
Okay, next question. We're moving on. Next question. Over here, Charlie. Where's Charlie?
Come on, Mike.
Hi there, Amy Presley. You talked about forensic evidence, and I probably already know the answer to this. You said blunt force trauma.
Yes.
Is there anything to prove or disprove that it was a gunshot wound?
Okay, good question. Here's where we are. We have a 25 caliber shell casing down on the floor, correct? You got that, ma'am? We got a 25 caliber shell casing on the floor. We've got a skull that was found, right, by law enforcement. Pine Gregory found the skull looking for deer shed. I mean, really? Okay. So we've got a skull that's crushed in, right? So you look at it and you go, okay, how did he die? Forensically, they say they do not see a bullet hole through the skull, but they do see a crushed in. Now, anybody that's in the business, I know one guy was just up here, he's a firefighter, see a couple of paramedics back here. Sometimes people, when they kill themselves with a 22 or with a 25, or if somebody shoots them in the soft part of the back of the neck, everybody feels you back in it. Okay? The bullet goes in and goes, and then stops. Is there any damage to the inside skull? No. Is there damage to the brain? Unfortunately, we don't have that brain. The theory is, according to the cell phone pings and the cell phone and everything that we've got, he was at or near that football stadium. She interviewed how many people? Kids. 25 or so kids she interviewed alone. And they said, oh, he got into something. He's out there on Lake Marvin Road. I'd say we did 50 kids, 60, 70 kids. Every single one of them told us Lake Marvin Road. And when we were searching Lake Marvin Road, we found their little places. Their little places where they build a little fire, and sit out there and drink a little beer. We all did it when we were kids. Come on. I didn't smoke dope. Some kids smoke dope. Okay. Whoopee. Some kids go out there and pluck. Whoopee. But we know a few things by actions. Where the car was parked, they got out and they peed. And they were right near the thing. That's a kid. That's a kid. Where the body was found, that's kid zone in there. Little fireplace out there. We know that's kid zone. Whoever did this is young kids. This isn't an old guy walking around with a gun just killing people. This is kids. This is kids. Now, the theory law enforcement has is if it really was kids, they'd be chattering and talking by now. Right? They're not. Which tells us it's one kid. And the other question is, and we have to ask it as investigators, Jeff Castletine killed himself less than 500 feet from where the car was found. Right after Tom's body was found. I don't know. It's a theory. It's, what do they call it? Fact and, I keep forgetting. Speculation. That's speculation. I don't know. I don't know. But I do know this. As a forensics guy who goes around and chases people, and we find out who they are, what they like, even down to the hamburger they eat. Right? People look at us when we're interviewing them and they go, why are you asking me that? because we're developing a profile. Our profile is that it's a young person that moved the car, a young person that found the, what's it called, bell fence, found the bell fence, went through the bell fence. It's a kid. These are kids. Question is which kid? We're on it. We're working. Sir.
Me?
Ma'am, I'm sorry. I thought he was first. You go ahead.
I probably need a microphone. I'm a little nervous, and I don't want anybody to be mad at me, but I can't sit here and not ask this. I'm a friend of Shannon Castletine's. On Skip Still, you said 2 boys, gunshot in the head, called the dad, Sheriff Lewis came up there, we're gonna cover this up. But tonight, you said you named Michael Castletine a person of interest and Chris Jones a person of interest. Shannon and I have been texting. Why are you naming Michael Castletine a person of interest?
He's one of the last persons to see him. And we interviewed him 3 times. He's changed his story all 3 times. That's about as easy as I can get. Hey, look here. I got the interview.
Well, we interviewed Michael. He was very nervous. We even took him out with us to Lake Martin Road and showed him where the backpack was found. And he was asking odd questions. Not typical of someone who just is curious, but he kept asking questions about, what do you know? What do you think? Do you think they'll find the person? It wasn't about the backpack. It wasn't about Tom. It was more about what do you know and what are you going to find and what do you think and do you think they'll find out who did it? And plus, I don't know how many kids in Canadian smoke marijuana. I know Michael did. I know that his cousin did. I know that Chris Jones did. And when they found the car, they said it had this slight odor of marijuana in the car. So someone's out there driving his car around smoking marijuana. So that's why he is, for us, a person of interest.
And he was a dope dealer in your town. He dealt marijuana. Any parent in here that shakes their head and say, oh no, I didn't do that. You better go home and talk to your kids. Now, was he a big dope dealer? Was he a big 5-pound, 100-pound guy? No. Can you get me we used to call it in high school, a lid. That was it. Can you get me a lid? He had 1 ounce, 2 ounce of marijuana that he could spread around or a dime bag or something like that. Come on, he's not some big kingpin. He's just a kid. He's just a kid going through life. The problem is he changed his story. You don't change your story. Then we've got a guy in prison. His story hadn't changed 5 times, to the point. He's either the greatest actor there ever was, because he's a horrible robber, and he's a horrible thief. He's horrible. Why did the kid change his story? That's a question. Next question. Is that it? You got it. Come on up here, son. I like your hair.
So, I guess you kind of answered this earlier, but do you feel high schoolers were or are specifically targeted by whoever did this? And then, also, like, it's kind of a 2-part question, and I've got another one. But, and then also, like, do you feel, like, I've got 2 football players sitting right there, like, I've known them since little. Like, do you feel we're still safe in this town, like, 4 years later?
Great question, and here's what I will say to you first, and I'm going to say this to you with all love and care and respect. You need to go home and talk to your parents and have a heart-to-heart talk and talk to them about your fear. Your parents are the ground that make you work. And when you're my age, because I'm an old guy now, when you get to be my age, you can look back and say, my parents gave me this. So to answer the first question, do you have fear for your life? No, I do not. I do not think there's a guy running around town shooting kids in the back of the head. I don't. All right? Do I think this is an isolated incident? Yes, I think this is an isolated. And let me tell you why. Because there's been no other shootings. There's been no other stabbings. There's been no other killings in this town. You young people are so freaking lucky. You live in a small town where the community bonds around you. You have a good high school, okay? Did some people make a mistake 6 years ago? 6 years now? 5, 6 years ago? Did they make a mistake? Yes, they made a bad decision to get Chris Jones to come